morning. I greet you with the love of the Lord, grace and peace and strength to you always. We recently wrapped up talking about it is finished, what Jesus did at Calvary's cross, and how we should respond to what Jesus did. And I'm sure that you're probably wondering, well, Deborah, how am I going to get all of this done? Even the Word of God tells us that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And I myself, when I first got saved and I started reading the Word and what I'm supposed to do and what's required of me, I went about it from a place of pure discipline. Now, I'm a very disciplined person. So when I set my mind to do something, I will go about it and I will do it until it is completed. That is who I am naturally. And so as I continued in that, I realized I was doing it, but I wasn't fulfilled. I didn't have that joy and that contentment. And the Spirit of the Lord led me to understand that I also have to do it from a place of love. If we love Him, we would obey Him. But in order to love Him, we first have to receive His love. And part of receiving His love is receiving some blessings, spiritual blessings as well as physical favor we will need in order to carry out His will, in order to obey Him. Let us look at 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 3. By His divine power, God has given us everything we need for living a godly life. We have received all of this by coming to know Him, the one who called us to Himself by means of His marvelous glory and excellence. God has given us everything that we need to live a godly life. So all of what we're reading in the Word, all of what He's calling us to do, He didn't just tell us to do it and leave us by ourselves. In Romans, it tells us that we are no longer under the law, but we are under grace. Now, the law told us what to do and what not to do, and the law did not facilitate us in doing it or not doing it. But grace has come. Jesus Christ came full of grace, and His grace and His power enables us now to go about doing what God calls us to do. So we're not left alone to do it on our own, but God has given us everything that we need to live godly. And one of those things is the grace of God. Now, very often we hear about the grace of God and persons define it as the unmerited favor. Okay, that is good. It is the unmerited favor of God. But further to that, what does grace do? How do we utilize grace? I went about in my study and I wrote a definition. This is what I came up with. Grace is a product of God's love extended to His children without merit or limitation. It is a gift freely given to divinely influence and empower our hearts to live godly. God has given us His grace. So we don't have to try to figure out things on our own. We don't have to wonder, how am I going to get this done? We just need to tap into the grace that God has given to us to receive it. If I can give you an analogy, it may be a weak one, but think of a car. And in order for that car to start, you need some gas or diesel. Let's go with some gas inside of that car. And so you put some gas in and the car is starting and it's revving and it's good to go. But you don't only want this car to start. You want it to go from point A to point B. So you need to put in enough fuel so that it can now get you from point A to B. And you need to keep putting in fuel on a regular basis in order to continue to drive that car. Grace is quite similar. Grace was given to us at the inception of salvation, and so now God continues to give us that grace, that influence, that divine influence, and that empowering in order to do His will. Let us talk about it some more this week. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.